may I remind you both, we're Alphacore, and failure is not what we do.
What's up, everybody? This is your boy Kevin, aka Spydr-Bro here with another review. This time, Alphacore from the RIPPAVERSE. I'm not gonna waste your time with an explanation, but this is the first comic book outside of Isom. So let's go ahead and get straight to what you guys came for. This. All right, so let's go ahead and take this off the package. Also, you know, you got this seal of approval with, you see the RIPPAVERSE hat logo. And yes, I am amazed that I was able to remove the sticker and keep that. So let's go ahead and boom. Oop, think I didn't grab too deep enough. Fell on my part. Struggling already. Nice. So you get the classic RIPPAVERSE box. This time it's more on the slimmer side. Box been working out. All right. Come on. Tilt it. Let me see. Okay. It's pretty clever. So we're gonna do it like this. Boom. This is my version of it. Let me go ahead and turn this down. Turn it down all the way so they reflect. I got cover D. I really do like this cover, man. It's freaking badass. All right, so let me get to reading this. That way I can do my review. I'm gonna talk, first part is gonna be pretty much the general summary, how I feel about the story, if it's good or bad, everything in between. And then the second part will be spoilers. So until then, peace.
All right, before we get started, just going to check out the rippaverse.com. That's where you find the comic books. You can still get your covers A, B, C, and D. They are still available. And also, they just released their signature series. That's the graded, 9.8 graded signature. So if you want to have extra collector's items, check that out as well. And also, don't forget about your merch. Grab your merch while you still can. As you can see, they are offering sales and you can get things for a steal. Not sponsored, by the way. Link will be in the description. Alright, I have finished the comic, and first thing I have to say is, buy this comic. This comic book is peak. And at first, I couldn't find the words to express how I felt about this comic. But after writing this script, I can describe exactly how I feel. This story is like eating at a 5-star restaurant. Let's call it 5-9 Steakhouse, where the top tier chefs all work together to bless our taste buds with this fine dining. Starting off with the appetizer, the cover. This is cover D. I picked this cover because it looks badass. The heroes in front of that massive fire standing off at whoever or whatever caused it, plus the details in our heroes' faces is great work. Mark Evans, you cooked, brother. Now, for the main course, the story. Alphacore was written by the legendary Chuck Dixon and penciled by the legendary Joe Bennett. Chuck Dixon slapped a Wagyu A5 filet mignon steak on the table, and Joe Bennett and the colorist Michael Bartolo and Thiago Del Ballo threw in the seasoning, and when I tell you they seasoned the hell out of this steak, it would be an understatement. Just look at these pages. Look at the emotion conveyed in some of these pages. Then when you throw in the color, it just makes it pop. That's that flavor. That's that MSG, baby. As they passed that seasoned Wagyu steak back to Chuck Dixon, he cooked that thing like it was a Guga steak. This man is a legend indeed. His writing is phenomenal. The pacing was great. It felt like an action movie. It has a great beginning, a smooth middle to set the pieces in order, then an epic conclusion, and then another final confrontation to set up the next book. I like how Chuck Dixon made the superheroes great and flawed at the same time. Good conflict the Alphacore faces that are not just the villains, but regular humans, and their job. I'll explain that more in part 2. The dessert is the action, of course. The fights in the story are amazing and expertly drawn, especially with the action poses. You gotta love your action poses. And the villains weren't just your everyday beat 'em up side quest that just keeps the story pushing. These villains were actually made the Alphacore sweat, both metaphorically and quite literally. And I like that the humans were able to shine by helping the heroes and not just stand by while the supes do all the work. This is an excellent story. Definitely a buy. You will not be disappointed, and I don't know which review is going to come first between this comic and Nakari Ayame figure. Both earns my SSR Platinum seal of approval. I'm going to go with this logo for now until I commission somebody to make my seals of approval and update my logos. But this is it for the first part of the review. What did you like about the review? What don't you like about the review? Are you interested in this book? Let's have a discussion in the comments below. And until next time, y'all, peace.
Okay, and welcome to part 2 of this review. Now, I might be doing it like this because my phone camera shows a lot better than my webcam, and I still haven't got OBS locked down yet, and I don't want another incident to where my crap just get excommunicado. So, anyway, I'm sorry if I'm looking back and forth between the camera and the script. I don't have anything to hold this up yet, so. All right. Now for part 2. Of this review, I'll be going over the story, and if you haven't gotten the book yet, remember, again, spoiler warning. You have been warned, don't at me. Okay. The story starts off with a bank robbery, a high level one at that, because my man had the whole SWAT team after him. Trying to keep the police back, the robber took a hostage and threatened them with a bomb. But a little did he know that Brian was on top of him and ended up sweeping him literally off his feet, getting him high enough to where if the bomb does go off, it won't end up causing a mass casualty. Brian asked if he knew how to disarm the bomb, to which the robber says no, because actually it's not supposed to go off. It's a dummy bomb. Now, hearing that the criminal don't know how to disarm the bomb, Brian just tosses the criminal as he removes the bomb off of him. See me? I like heroes that does everything in their power to save civilians and keep them safe and don't really give a fuck about criminals and how they might end up. Now, it can be argued that Brian knew that he was going to land in a pool of water, but how deep was that water? Could have came out with a broken leg or something like that, but anyway, Brian ended up tossing the bomb and in fact went off, shocking the criminal, and before the criminal can even put 2 and 2 together, back in the air he goes. Tossing the bad guy back to the officers, Brian was met with some conflict from Detective Flynn, because even though the criminal was stopped before it was a mass casualty, it wasn't a quote-unquote freak call. So to Flynn, Brian had no business there. Brian tries to push back passively by stating that he was just flying by and he wasn't sent out. And what was the harm? Problem solved quite easily and no lives lost. And nobody harmed, not even the criminal. To which Flynn replies that they had the problem solved and they didn't need him flying around. Yep, Flynn pulled Brian's card. Leaving with annoyance from the confrontation with the detective, Brian arrives back at the airport where he was instantly reprimanded by one of his generals for his involvement with a non-Alphacore call. But hey, he was just winging it. On their way back to Central Control, the general discussed what they should properly name the airpod, because the airpod ain't sexy, plus they don't want to give Apple any ideas. So the general comes up with the Airy, which means eagle nest, which is sexy and miracle. Upon arriving at Central Command, Brown was met with more fire from Valdez, who agrees with Flynn, but more so on Brian's grandstanding. Yes, Brian did save the day, but because the situation didn't call for an except, the media, more so a certain lawyer, was able to twist the narrative to hurt the public view of Alphacore, to which Brian dismisses. Valdez tries to warn him on how bad the situation actually is, but it ended up turning into pretty much an argument between the two. Finally stopped by the general, reminding them that they're on the same side. While Brian and Valdez go blows off steam, an Alphacore call came through. And so far, this is my favorite villain of the series so far. Galvin James. In every panel, this dude is epic. From the fights, his expressions, and even his dialogue. So, how do we get here? Well, officers were serving an arrest warrant to a lady for grand theft, but little did they know she had company, and how they found out was electrifying. And out steps this guy. I mean, look at him. Yeah, I'd be calling Alphacore and noping the fuck out. I mean, just look at this. Yeah, no. While Galvin was busy galvanizing the officers, he was quickly dealt with by Braxwell with a smooth kick to the back of his head, and quickly using his environment to short-circuit Galvin while he was charging up an attack. Bouncing back to Brian, he is yet again getting his ass chewed out from the chief of police. Damn, Chuck. What do you got against Brian? But basically, the chief is letting Brian know that him and his team is valuable to the police force. However, they are dead last in responding to crimes. The only call they can respond to are ones dealing with excepts. He understands that Brian used to be a soldier, but this isn't war. This is policing. And being a cop takes diplomacy. Going back at our original robber who popped his day off, now being interrogated on how he made the bomb, because he isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. And before they can get anything out of him, his lawyer ended up showing up. More conveniently, this is the same lawyer on the news twisting the narrative against the Alphacore. So wait, how did we get here? How is that the same lawyer on the media is now the representative of the bank robber? That's where now I'll bring up Micah Cooper, the mastermind behind the robber. You see, originally, the robber was supposed to go into the vault, and that's where the bomb was intended to go off. But of course, things change and don't always go as planned. Now Michael has two problems: a stash that he can't justify, and now a living accomplice. So Michael sends out the lawyer to represent both the robber and Galvin. But Spydr, you ask, why is Michael sending the lawyer to represent both Galvin and the robber? And that's to take care of the living accomplice, which Galvin executes perfectly. And he escapes. However, in disposing of the bank robber, there was critical information left with the body, which traces back to Cooper. And upon discovering that information, Brian and Valdez and the detectives separate and follow the breadcrumbs. Brian going back to the bank, Valdez going to obtain Galvin, and the detectives going after the lawyer.
Sensing that Michael's plan is going to fail, Lillian takes it upon herself to clean up Michael's mess, but unfortunately for her, Alphacore is quickly on her tail. Both of these events are happening simultaneously. So first I'm going to start with Brian back at the bank. Just before he gets to the bank, Lillian's chess piece is already there to tamper with the evidence. Now, looking at our mysterious man, he looks like a regular civilian, but actually, he is in the except. And with his voice, he's able to brainwash or Jedi mind trick the bank robber into taking him into the vault, where he places the envelope, and right as Brian arrives during his investigation, Brian is interrupted by a strange man in a jumpsuit. And who could this dude be?
His name is Billy Bob Quinn, and he's here to make a withdrawal. So start stacking that cash, y'all, because it all got his name on it.
I read that line and died laughing because that's exactly how I heard it in a more better country accent. That's one hell of an introduction. And Bob ain't no pushover either, because not only did he overprime Brian, but he literally cooked him. Damn, Brian, just taking L's left and right. Managing to get inside the vault, Billy Bob was looking for the account box that belongs to Michael. Taking advantage of his distraction, the bank manager was able to seal him inside the vault, cutting off his oxygen supply. While Billy Bob powered up to try to escape, he actually burned himself out. Now, having access to the box, Brian rips open the door, grabbing the envelope that was left inside. Now we're going to switch to player 2, Valdez. In order to apprehend Galvin, Valdez ended up partnering up with the officer, Wilkins, seeing as though she can't fly and needs a ride. The struggles of being a hero. They hit Galvin's known hotspots, searching for him. Wilkins tries to make small talk with Valdez, but ended up annoying her with a joke he made about having a superhero mobile. She fires back at him, saying that she's not a comic book character, meta. She's a cop and should be treated like one. Finally pulling up on Galvin, Officer Wilkins surprises Valdez by showing her that he's actually an accept by manipulating the metal in the lock to opening the door. And as soon as she tries to confirm his ability, Galvin quickly electrocutes Wilkins, knocking him out cold. While Galvin and Valdez is trading blows left and right, Wilkins wakes up and was able to distract Galvin long enough for Valdez to land a critical blow on Galvin, sending him out the window and finally putting him out. Now seeing Wilkins in a new light, Valdez apologizes to him for looking down on him, thinking he was just trying to make fun of her for being a freak. But turns out, they're both freaks. And even though Wilkins thinks his abilities are just a party trick and nothing special, Valdez confirms that he's still an accept, and with a little bit of work, he can level up. With the investigation closing in on Cooper, the last piece to the puzzle is the lawyer, in which the detectives catches up with him. And as they try to question him, he brushes them off by saying unless they feel as though he's a flight risk, he's going to excuse himself into the restroom. Now, while the lawyer is bleeding out the lizard, Lillian's mysterious man who left the envelope at the bank was also telling the lawyer, making sure to cut off all loose ends and tell the lawyer to jump out the window. Oh, so that's what he meant by being a flight risk. Back at the array, Brian's opened the envelope to discover a jump drive and is eager to discover what content it holds. Why all of this is happening over this little device. However, Valdez wants to know why Brian is wearing shades inside the ship in the middle of the night, to where Brian shows off that his eyebrows has been singed off. Yo, Chuck, what did Brian do to you? Quickly getting back to the topic of the jump drive, Brian wants to plug up the device to see what context it holds. However, he was warned by Sandy that it could be packed with a lot of malware. As the team tries to decide on what they should do, the detectives trace the mysterious man, and having a strange feeling that he might be an accept, considering he was able to some way somehow get the lawyer out the window, Maxwell takes up the task and flies out to meet up with the detectives. In the meantime, Michael meets up with Lillian to check and confirm if the plan was successful, to which they prematurely think it does, and it's all up to that jump drive. And either if the Alphacore or the police takes the bait. Upon arriving to the location of our mysterious man, Maxwell and the two detectives discussed on how they were going to apprehend him, and the mysterious man unknowingly walks right out of the garage, spotting them. Both parties quickly respond to the situation. The man tries to talk to Maxwell, but only ended up getting some duct tape slapped to his mouth. Confused on how his powers didn't work, he was unaware that Maxwell was jamming out to some old tunes
effectively nullifying his ability. But of course, that was too easy, and two excepts quickly pursued Maxwell and the detective as they witnessed them apprehending Benny. Yep, people, our mysterious man name is Benny. As the fight ensues, we're gonna jump back to the area where Brian is still trying to convince Sandy on plugging in the jump drive. Seeing as though they were at a stalemate, Brian just says fuck it and plugs in the jump drive, completely minimizing the potential danger of this tiny little device. Which, well, he's gonna learn today. Because instantly their system was hacked, Sandy quickly tries to pull the device out, but gets electrocuted. And that's not even the worst of it, because all of a sudden the Ares starts moving on its own, and is on a crash course to the city. The crew tries to regain control of the ship, but is locked out. Lillian has full control of the ship, and she is staring it straight to the main source of her and Michael's problem, the police station. Back on the ground level, Braxwell is arresting all three assailants. The detective sees that the ship is heading straight towards the city, and before they even notify Braxwell of the strange event, he is already in the air at maximum speed to get back to the ship. Quickly assessing the situation and joins Brian to try to stop the ship. But Lillian is having way too much fun trolling them. She's hitting buildings, causing a lot of collateral damage and putting civilian lives in danger. So Brian and Braxwell breaks off the ship to save the civilians. Losing all hope, Brian decides to abandon ship and radios in to plan to get everybody out. But they all responded saying that they're willing to go down with the ship, and they're going to try their best to regain control. Quickly radioing ahead to the police station to get everyone evicted, our man's Wilkins walk out determined to stop the ship. The conversation he had with Valdez gave him the boost he needed to believe in himself and his abilities. And he finally powers up to gain control of the ship. Using every last bit of his strength, Wilkins was able to stop the ship. But it was at a great cost. Because he pushed himself to the max to stop this big ass ship, such a feat took the heaviest toll on him and ended up killing him. Realizing the ship was stopped and everyone was safe, the Alphacore sees Wilkins' body between the ship and the building and quickly comes to his aid, only to discover that he did in fact stop the ship, but ended up dying in the process. A short time after Wilkins' funeral, the Alphacore was able to piece together who their two main suspects were and their location, and went out to pay them a friendly visit to see who they're actually dealing with. And after a brief confrontation with them, Michael and Lillian tries to brush off the Alphacore, thinking that the group has nothing on them, and tries to board their jet, quite smugly, to only piss off Valdez, and she retaliates by slicing a nice chunk of their jet off and walking away like badasses. Alright, now I'm done with the whole script part, and we're going to be going over my favorite parts of the book. And the reason why I'm not doing the script again, because it took me forever to write that thing. And doing the voiceover, I definitely had to make a lot of cuts, so yeah. But anyway, I'm going to be going over my favorite parts of the book and pretty much add like extra context or whatnot to the rough summary of the book. First and foremost, I know I'm probably going to show it in the B-roll in the past, but I love this shot, man. This definitely reminds me of that Spider-Man shot where he's carrying a civilian in his hand, but I like this. And then going back to Brian, he's not necessarily bulletproof because he ended up telling the criminal that, hey, yeah, even though these bullets are bouncing off me, the crap still hurts. So maybe a smaller, maybe a bigger round, like maybe a rifle round or anything stronger, could possibly pierce Brian's skin. Let's see where else. Oh, and I know in my last video I said this.
I want to know if the Alphacore is actually like the Green Lanterns, or they got like the vault thing with the boy situation. Like they're, as long as in front of like people and the eyes and cameras, they're good people. but behind closed doors and stuff like that, they actually just this corporation just trying to make money, or this corporation that got heroes for hire, like under contract type stuff.
However, I was partially right and wrong. Yes, the Alphacore is not like Volt from The Boys. They're not evil suits and stuff like that, or necessarily just doing stuff for, just doing stuff to be doing stuff. They're actually cops. They're actually working with the officers and not have some evil grand scheme behind it. So, wanted to make a call back to the first video. Oh, and they're not necessarily Green Lantern Corps, maybe just yet. Maybe as the universe expands, they might be, but so far, Eric did say he's going to keep everything ground level for the most part. So yeah, they're not like Green Lantern Corps. So they're pretty much super cops for hire. Oh yeah, I mentioned that that he pretty much just tosses the guy into the pool. Like I said, I don't know who I like more between heroes and anti-heroes, because I'm on the mind of, I don't give a damn of what happens to the criminal. Like, innocent people shouldn't be harmed, of course, innocent people, but a person who's transgressing against the criminal, I don't care how they should be dealt with. I think they should be dealt with first, questions later. But, diplomacy, as they say, or, there's a legal way to do things. But, okay, so the thing, should I explain this before? Yeah, I'm gonna explain this after, how pretty much the story and pretty much how everything kind of wraps up. But like I said, this guy so far is my favorite villain. Like, dude, like seeing this dude come out and like, bro, just look at that. Look at that. They did a damn good job with these expressions. Like, this is crazy. I'm bouncing all over the place. I try to have like a plan in motion, like I'm just playing here, I'm just playing here, my hands play here. But now that I'm actually looking into the comic book, I'm just jumping all over the place again. So let's focus. All right, oh yeah. Like I said, I like the fact that the heroes are flawed. Like, even though Brian does have the best intentions, he wants to be a hero, he wants to help do his dizzle. He doesn't want to just stay back in the sidelines, but he does kind of have an ego and a chip on the shoulder. So that, like I said, later on in the story, or but pretty much later on in the story, because that he's dismissive of a lot of stuff. He doesn't really see the true dangers of regular folks and other stuff. He just brushes things aside, which causes a lot of downfall in the end. And with Valdez, because let's get to, Braxwell is perfect. He has no flaws. He's perfect. Braxwell might be my favorite out of the Alphacore, because, like I said, I like people who punch first, ask questions later, and that's something Braxwell definitely does. All right, this part made me laugh out my ass. Like I said, the facial expressions of this comic book is top notch, because he's a bubbling idiot. I don't know. And as soon as my mans get a lawyer, look at his demeanor change. Just all confident. Just whew. And like I said, the fight scenes are awesome. These villains are good. They're Galvin, like how fast he's able to come up with a plan to get out was crazy. And then Galvin don't necessarily kills indiscriminately. Like, he's not that type of bad guy that just kills everybody. He pretty much has some discretion. I think it depends on either how bad you piss him off or how much you get in his way if he kills you or not. Because so far the cops, he just electrocute them enough to knock him out and goes away. But with the robber, I don't want to. I'm too lazy to get his name. But basically, the bank robber, he cooks him. Like, woof. Like, that is one hell of a way to go. Like, they is not pulling no punches when it comes to this comic book. So, again, just look at these expressions. Like, oh, because I'm flip one ahead. Like, look at Granny, bro. Let me see if I got this in the shot. Come on. My watch is acting stupid. There you go. Like, look at that. It's crazy. I like this setup so much. Let's see. Yes. Wilkins. Now, at first, I thought this was when I first seen his face, I thought they mess up because he literally changes. He goes from let me see. I gotta look this up. So basically, they had my man's looking like Urkel, and then he changes to Stefan. So pretty much, I don't think this was an error on their end, because at first I was like, wait, what's going on? And I don't think this was a visual thing. I think this is how Valdez seen Wilkins, because at first she did look down on him because she thought that he was pretty much treating her like a gimmick. You know, like she said, she's not a comic book character. I'm tired of people treating me as such. I am a cop. Treat me as such. But until she found out that Wilkins was an except, she pretty much changed her mind on how she sees him. Because, like I said, after that, he went from looking like that to looking like this. So that was one excellent way to, that was one excellent way to convey things. And see, with the fighting, like, Gavin do not play no games. This dude is on people's bumpers. He is throwing hands. And I like how his abilities is kind of like on a limiter. Like, he can only do so much and has to recharge. And I think depending on how much charge he gets, he's one of those abilities. I think he has one of those abilities to where how much he has a charge, that's how strong he is. He gets a nice good charge. He can go out, no, because he got tased and he had enough ability to pretty much knock two cops out and barbecue an inmate. So I think as long as he gets a charge, he's able to do things, and he does have a temporary charge. Now that I'm re-looking at it, so pretty much he only has a certain amount that he can let. So what can I compare him to? Maybe an electric, maybe a battery of sorts. He can charge up and then he can put out. So he has a limit on what he can do. Because I thought when he first fought Baxwell spraying the water on him overloaded or short circuit his pretty much, because he was charged up. So him getting hit with the water pretty much shorted him out. But then when he fight Valdez, he hits his head on the table and he's out of juice, and he has to hit a power outlet to recharge and get back into the fight. And again with Billy Bob Quinn. Sorry. When I read that, that's how he sounded in my head. Billy Bob Quinn. What the hell is the name of a Billy? Ooh, the name alone had me like, yeah, I like this guy. But even Billy Bob put the smackdown on Brian. He overpowered him, and he pretty much breathed lava or fire. Whatever he did, pretty much had Brian out. I wouldn't say lava. I guess he just fireballed him real good. Fireball. Like I mentioned, I like that the humans, in fact, do well. Not humans, or because they all humans in the set. I like how regular civilians jump in and helps the heroes out. That's cool that not only the superheroes do some work, but and hell, in most cases, the regular people do a better job at taking down the exceps than the superheroes. So that's cool that, like I said, they got their own chance to shine in the story. And a comic book here does have its funny moments. Like I said, Brian pretty much takes L's all day throughout the whole comic book, especially getting his eyebrows burnt off. That was funny. I died laughing at that scene. Laughing about it now. Whew. But when it comes to Lillian and Michael, I think we can safely assume that Lillian is the better mastermind than Michael, because her plans actually worked way better than Michael's. I think Michael needs to go back to villain school and learn the trade of truth, because him trying to be a grandmaster was losing too many chess pieces, as they say. So Lillian had to step up and change the board. Again, look at the emotion. Like, that is nicely drawn. I mean, you can see the struggles. Man's veins, all his veins is popping out his neck, trying to hurry up and save civilians, and even Brian is struggling with carrying the bus. So there's also a limit on Brian's strength as well, because he looks like he's really struggling. I like Wilkins' death scene. It shows that, it shows like great heart and people willing to sacrifice themselves to save the day. He didn't run, he didn't turn corner. He was like, hey, yo, I'm stopping this ship. So I really did like that. I like that Lily and Michael was having fun watching all the chaos ensue. Villains being villains. And I do like this. This was like a good callback to Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, where I think Starkiller brought the ship down to where he stopped the ship. So that kind of gave me that reference. That's in my opinion. That might have been a whole different thing, but to me, it was a callback to Star Wars: Force Unleashed. And the final confrontation with Michael and Lily. I like this. This was an epic setup to the next book. And then Valdez can have a bit of a temper tantrum. She can not temper tantrum, but she can have a bit of a temper. So I like how these are heroes. They sometimes go by the book and then be like, you know what? Fuck it. All right, so one thing I like about the book, like I said, the heroes are flawed, and when it came to the situation where, like I said, the Alphacore is not only dealing with villains, but they're dealing with the media, they're dealing with society, they're dealing with the police. Pretty much how I can easily reference this is to how the things that's going on with current media and AI. Pretty much AI is a powerful tool, is being used by companies, and it's pretty much the Alphacore is the AI. They're a powerful form of humans. They can do things that humans can't do. So if they end up solving all the crimes, basically they're taking jobs away from police, and the police will be left out or feel worthless. So the police are fighting them. They not only fighting crime, but they also fighting them, because look, we get it. You guys are ex-helps. Y'all can do phenomenal things. Y'all can do things that we can't. But if y'all do it, what are we going to do? Just like AI. AI is a powerful tool. AI can do things that a lot of us can't do. Heck, I used AI to do, not this script, but if I did or didn't put the Apple scene, because I did an Apple commercial within this. So if you do see it, if you don't see it, well, I don't know why I didn't put it in there. So, but basically I used AI to come up with that script, not this script. I typed up this script myself. But the thing about it is, with the whole AI versus the localizer things, and we've seen what what one fan did with the whole was Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid scene, where we had a localizer change something that wasn't supposed to be it, and then somebody went back with the AI using that localizer's voice and changed it, and it's damn near seamlessly. So that's AI now. Let's see AI in the future. So that's where I see this. The superheroes are great now, and if we use them or have them do the jobs, where do we stand? Where do those police officers do? You know, what happens to them? What happens to the military? So that's how I see that. With Brian, he does kind of have a chip over his shoulder and an ego to where he doesn't understand, like, dude. And I don't know if Brian has always had his powers, because he was mentioned that he was in the military. So I don't know if he was a late bloomer or he always had his powers, just kept them suppressed or whatnot. I think the same as Braxwell. Maybe I need to go back and reread the cards to figure that out. But like I said, Braxwell is perfect. Like he has no flaws. When it came to Valdez, I like that she kind of looked down on somebody, but then figured out, oh crap, we're the same. And even though he, like they say, even though he didn't believe in himself, he was actually among the greats, and hell, maybe even better than some of them, because he was able to, for the first time, he actually used his powers outside small things. He was actually able to stop a big ass ship. So great story. I am definitely waiting for Alphacore 2. Y'all already know. Best girl, Yara. Y'all already know I cannot wait for this book. So this was a damn good book. My hats off to Chuck Dixon and Joel Bennett. Eric D. July, you doing your thing, man. I cannot wait to see how far this goes. This is a damn good book. And like I said, this gets my SSR Platinum rating, because yes, now I'm doing ratings now. Now I gotta go back through my other videos and give ratings and stuff like that. Content. But anyway, what did you like about the video? What don't you like about the video? Is Alphacore your favorite book? Do you like it better than Isom? Do you want Yara? I said, do you want Yara? Sorry. Can't you wait for it? God damn it. Are you waiting for Yara? Let's have that discussion in the comments below. And until next time, y'all, peace.